Since the beginning of time, humanity has been impressed by having the biggest and best things out there. And throughout our journey here, we've discussed and learned about many great cultures and countries that have impressive aspects. And although we still have a lot to learn and a long way to go, there is one country that we have yet to look at. Russia. She is a big country. As a matter of fact, the biggest country in the entire world. A nation that is filled with not only people of pride, but a culture that has a rich history and future. Hey guys, what's going on? Dave Wapple here, and welcome to FTD Facts, the channel where we educate people on everything and everything. And today we're going to look at a country that, like I said, is proud, but is also really misunderstood. And for those who are just joining us for the first time, this is a channel where we like to take a lot of recommendations from our followers. To give you an example, Russian Spy wanted us to do this. There was also Samyadeep Banerjee, Sairam Vimula, and of course, many more of you. And for me, I've actually really wanted to do this video because, well, let's be honest, I love Russian girls. They are just, whew! And speaking of attraction, let's ask you guys the question of the day, and that is, what are your top 3 favorite accents? Ooh, good one, I know. Let me know your top 3 favorites and why down there in the comments section below. Now, when I told you that I love Russian girls, let's talk about the girls, because there's one interesting thing about Russia, and that is women outnumber men. As a matter of fact, they say that there are about 9 million more women to men in the entire country. Studies have shown that to 100 women, there is approximately 86.8 men. And the reason for this is partly due to the Second World War. But it's not just war that makes men's population low, it's also alcohol. Alcohol is predominantly a major problem with deaths with young men in the country. And although 52% of Russian women view alcohol as a major problem, a 2005 study showed that 37% of males would die before the age of 55 due to alcohol-related deaths. Now let's get off the bad topics and move on to some of the more positive things about Russia. One thing for sure is that Russia has a great population of 146 million people, with over 3/4 of its population living in cities such as Moscow and the beautiful St. Petersburg and so on. And some people might think that with Russia's size, it is the country with the smallest population density. But actually, if you spread everyone out, they do manage to have 21 people per square mile, compared to Greenland, which is like nothing. 0. Now, when we talk about density, let's be real, Russia is huge. As I stated earlier, it is the largest country in the entire world, with a landmass of over 17,075,200 square kilometers, which makes up almost the landmass of Canada and the United States combined. But with all this land, it has a lot of forest, and because of that, Russia is sometimes called the lungs of Europe. And therefore, the Russian forests are second to the Amazon rainforest when it comes to their trees consuming carbon dioxide. Also, interesting thing about the land is it has a lot of UNESCO World Heritage Sites. The country has over 26 of them, but one of the most amazing sites is the volcanoes of Kamchatka, which is a collection of 160 volcanoes with 29 of them being extremely active. And as for the ones that are alive, they are considered the largest active volcanoes in the Northern Hemisphere, and it is really quite an amazing spectacle. The scientists of Russia have done some amazing accomplishments, but one thing that Russian scientists have done that they can claim 100% theirs is they have the oldest plant ever to be regenerated from the seeds from over 32,000 years ago. This is the Silene Stentophilol, and although it was frozen in permafrost for such a long time, scientists managed to bring this plant back to life from its fruit tissues. Now here on FTD Facts, we also like to talk about some of the imports and exports of these countries. And Russia, for example, has over $449 billion in exports, and imports $295 billion in goods, with the biggest export being crude petroleum making 35%, and refined petroleum making 20%. And because of those numbers, they are the second biggest exporter of oil in the entire world. But their biggest imports are cars, making up 5.3%. In Russia, you will also notice that it has beautiful landmarks. We're not talking just about its architecture and buildings, we're also talking about its statues. But one of the most famous is the statue of the worker and the Kolkai woman, done by Vera Mokina. It is a stainless steel statue that is 80 feet high. And although it is now located in Moscow, it It was first introduced at the World's Fair in 1937, and the statue alone was a significant visual of the war against Nazism during the Second World War, as the statue was placed opposite of the German Nazi flag to show their rivalry. Now, to talk about accomplishments within this country, we cannot forget about the Russian space program. But what makes the space program groundbreaking is it was the first program to send a man into space and to even orbit the Earth. That cosmonaut was Yuri Gagarin, and he launched from Earth in his Vostok space capsule on April 12, 1961. And because of that crowning achievement, the Russian space program has become one of the most influential space programs in the world, collaborating with scientists all over the globe. Now, with a big country and territory comes a big army. Russia's army comes in 5th over the world with over 1 million people in active service and 2 million people in reserve service as of 2017. And that army costs around $69 billion a year. And when it comes to military, we unfortunately have to talk about its nuclear arsenal. Maybe not one of the most proud things for a country to have, but here on FTD Facts, we talk about the good and the bad. But in 1988, it was reported that Russia at one point had over 45,000 warheads, with over 715 detonations. But however, since then, there's been major steps in decommissioning these deadly warheads and nuclear vessels. But currently, right now, it is estimated that Russia has over 7,000 nuclear warheads. But moving back over to achievements of Russia, the country has many of them. It's a country of great intelligence due to its over 600 universities, and because of its great education, Russia has earned 27 Nobel laureates, spreading across literature, chemistry, physics, and above all, peace.
Я понимаю ее как поклон.
So thanks guys for watching. My name's Dave Wapple. This has been us talking about the great country known as Russia. If you guys have a suggestion for a future FTD Facts video, leave it down there in the comments section below. Also, here on FTD Facts, we want to actually start incorporating you guys into our videos. So for all you viewers who are from Russia or any country that we've talked about in the past, or even if you are from a country that we have not yet talked about, we want you guys to send footage to ftdfacts@gmail.com, and we're going to try to throw you in our videos. But above all, guys, it's been great talking about this country, a proud nation that has gone through many changes and struggles, a country that has shown the world that it'll stand up for its beliefs and values, from its development not just in defense, but its global humanitarian assistance programs. It is a nation of people striving for better ways of life and opportunity. It is the great country called Russia that is a motherland to many.